when we understand the statistics, they show us that we can have a better conversion when we move from a website to a funnel. How can do more with less? That's the idea of the funnel.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of the Kelly Show. Today, our guest is Pablo Sanchez. He's an engineer, master in business, author, teacher, TED speaker, and entrepreneur. He has specialized in leadership, negotiation, and human behavior, helping literally thousands of people achieve their business goals. He trains visionaries in digital marketing and sales with unconventional methods, taking businesses to 6 and 7 figures. If you are looking to take your life, your business, your skills to the next level, he knows exactly how to make it happen because he does it every day. So, Pablo, my question to you is, how did you get started?
Okay, thank you, Kelly, for your invitation.
Yeah.
Starting a business is not easy. In fact, when I was young, I was the nerd boy, right? So I studied everything I could, and what I wanted to do is to I didn't know exactly what I was doing. What I knew that I wanted to grow. So I started with studying engineer. Then I studied a master in business administration. And when I studied that, I think, well, okay, I can start my business. So I have everything. I think I have everything that I needed to start. So I started with the business, right? So the problem was that theory was exceptionally good, but in practice, there was a huge problem. So when I tried to turn the into practice everything what I have learned, I failed. That was my very best failure in my business. And from my perspective, I did everything that I could have done in order to have a good, let's say, business. So I didn't know what to do in that moment. That happened to me maybe in 2013 and 14, where I started my business. And then in 2015, 16, my business started to fail. I didn't know what to do because, in fact, I have studied everything that I thought that I would have that I needed to study in order to move forward. But I realized in that moment that the problem was myself. Was me, because I didn't have it was not in terms of knowledge. It was in terms of being who I was in that moment. And I didn't have a good business because the problem was that I wasn't prepared for that in my mind. So that was the very first time in my life that I started to learn about myself. A journey where I wanted to become a person that could earn money. So in that moment, I started learning about coaching, about sales, and that was mind-blowing in my life. But fast forward 2019, I needed something that in order to believe that I could do business in the right way. So in that moment, I did what I had never thought I would have done, which was I moved to learning from school or from a university to a mentor. That was the very first time. So what I said to myself is, okay, let's follow the instructions. That's all. Let's follow the instructions. And my very first mentor was Russell Brunson. I studied from him. And I wanted to show him that his methodology will not work. That's what's in my mind. Because I couldn't believe that someone who had not studied the things that I had studied as engineer, as an MBA, how is it possible that they had some results in their life? So I continued doing the things that he showed me. What I couldn't believe that was that I started to sell in that particular moment online. It was just the very beginning of my life where, and I was in that time I did a webinar, and there were about maybe 30 people live. And when I reached the part of the offer, I got a message. I was reading the message because everything was scripted in that moment, because I didn't have the capacity in my life to create in the moment as I do right now. And in that particular moment, I saw a message. I read a message that says I have paid, and I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And that was the very beginning. In fact, I finished the webinar, and 3-4 days later, I earned maybe $2,000, $2,500. That was 8 sales. It was not the money. It was that in that moment I started to believe that there was something that I could create something beyond what my mind was thinking in that moment, right?
Yes.
So that was the journey where I started to create funnels, and then I moved fast forward. I started to sell online, to sell high ticket products, services, and here we are today. And maybe 3-4 years later, here we are. And of course, the idea is to continue learning. And one of the things that I learned is that we always need to keep learning.
That's right.
I thought I had learned everything I could learn in my life. And besides, when I finished engineering, I thought that I was, I don't know, God in that moment, right? But the fact is that I didn't know anything. I started to learn. In fact, every single moment, every single day, I start learning, and the learning means to implement things, to start doing things, but follow instructions. One of the thoughts that blew my mind was one of my mentors said to me, if you are not making at least 10K a month, $10,000 a month, you just need to follow instructions, because your very first idea keep you where you are today.
That's right.
And you need to change your mind in order to believe that something is important, that you can do something. So in that moment, I started to follow just instructions.
Yes.
So that's a little bit of my story, where I came from the failure, and where I thought that I had learned everything that I could learn. I was frustrated, angry, sad in that moment. And fast forward today, knowing that I think that I can create predictability in my future because of what I'm learning every single day.
Yes. I think I have the kind of a similar epiphany with you. I started in business administration as well. And when I graduated, I started to build my online website, build my first website. Then I realized I don't know anything about marketing. What I learned in university about marketing, it doesn't work. It's just textbooks, right? And I don't know how to write copies. I don't know what to write, how to promote my products. So that's the moment I decide I need to follow a mentor. I need to learn from someone else. And the model was already working. And once I followed them and I started to gain traction. So following a mentor is like we take the shortcut because they already tried those trials and errors. We only need to follow what's working. Then we will have the similar results that they have, right? And
exactly.
Yes. And sadly, there are so many people out there, they're still trying to figure it all out by themselves. So what suggestions can you give to those people?
Well, I did the same in the past, right? So I can't just judge. But what I learned is that from the very beginning of our lives, since we are a child and till we grow up, and then everything in our life, we have mentors. In the very beginning, maybe they are our parents, then when our grandparents, and then we have some teachers. And fast forward, the problem is that we need someone that has reached to certain level, right?
That's right.
So I think that if we need to get to a certain level, and I think to go to reach to a certain goal, the idea, in fact, is to, how to say it, to learn from someone who has already done it,
That's right.
who can show us the path. Which path should we take in order to have that shortcut that you mentioned, right? And if we can do that, in fact, we are going to think that we don't have much time in life. We are just in life maybe 70, 80, 90 years. And the fact is that a shortcut, it's mandatory, I think, in our life.
That's
to
right.
arrive as fast as possible to a certain level.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that every single step in our life is as learning a new language. For example, if we start learning about digital marketing, it's a language itself. If we start learning closing it's a language itself. If we need business acumen, it's a language itself.
Yeah.
So every single step, we need to learn a new language in order to achieve certain goals. That's what I would recommend. So I like languages. In fact, I learned English, Italian, maybe a little bit of German, Portuguese. I can speak several languages. And the idea is that I take every single step of my standards in life as a new language. That's the way that I look at life. So what is a new language that I have to learn today in order to speak that language in the future? Because many people says, well, I understand the language. Okay, but can you speak that language? You can understand for example, how to build a funnel, but why doesn't it work? Why it doesn't work in your life?
Yes.
I understand how closing is done, but can you close? There are different perspectives of understanding. It's the same when you learn English. At the very beginning, the to be verb, then we move forward, and then we can speak fluently. And in my case, I need to keep improving my language. In fact, one of the things that I've learned is how can put myself in a position so that I can't fail. That's the way I move in life, right? So I try every single day to transform my weakness into strength. For example, one of the weaknesses that I had in my life was I couldn't close. I can talk to people, of course, but I couldn't do business with them. Why? Because I didn't have the business acumen. I didn't have the proper language. I didn't have the mindset. And all that stuff together means to have a new language. That's the idea.
Yeah. And you mentioned actually you got your first sale through a webinar, right? So would you recommend people who just started to do webinar to get their first sale? How would you recommend?
No, in fact, if I knew in the past what I know today, I would have changed everything, the path that I followed. In that moment, I thought that if I wanted it was easier, it would be easier, for example, to start a business online. And today, I think that it's the opposite. Why? Because the pandemic shown us that there was an acceleration in terms of all the people that moves into internet, right? So we need to learn that today doing digital marketing, it's quite complex because there are a lot of competitors.
That's right.
And every single one of them is they are creating ads, and those ads are going expensive each day. So if someone with no cash is going to start a business online, they will have difficult times because they need some cash to start a business online today. And they think, okay, let's start with, for example, organic, right? So let's put some videos and do some copywritings and have a blog. And I said to them, okay, good luck, because you will grow. Of course, everybody will grow, but how fast is the question. So one of the things that I would recommend to the ones who are starting is to understand the language of sales, of closing, right? Because if they can close, they can make money. If they start doing digital marketing maybe, of course, in every aspect of our lives, we need some learning curve, right? So the learning curve in digital marketing, unfortunately, it takes time.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and much time, sometimes years to understand. So when I started, till I got results, maybe it happened in 6-7 months. But I needed to provide to my family in that way. So if I need money right now, I would recommend to start to sales, because sales is one of the things that we are going to do till we die. Every single day we have to sell, right? And when they have some amount of money, for example, 2K, 3K a month, okay, let's start with learning, for example, digital marketing. And with digital marketing, they could do, for example, a webinar, and from that webinar, they could send people to book a call, and then they can close through the phone. But they can close through the phone because they have the ability to close through the phone. If they try to do a webinar and provide and get some leads, and those leads today are very, very expensive, it's quite difficult for them with no experience to create money from them out of the air, for example. Maybe in the past it was a reality. In fact, when I did it, the situation was completely different, but today it's quite complex. Even for me, that I have experience, I can't imagine someone who is starting right now with digital marketing. It's a quite complex way, right, to start a business. They think in their minds, well, I will be a millionaire in the upcoming 12 months. And they realize that it's not right like that. They need to understand that the very first thing that they have to do is to sell. If there is no sale, there is no business.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yes.
So that's my recommendation. Start with sales. They need to dominate the art of selling, because in the very it's an art at the very end of the journey, and then move forward to learning other skills. For example, digital marketing. For example, business acumen. It's another skill. For example, leadership, how to lead a team. All those skills are needed in order to create a business with certain kind of probability of success. Right?
That's right. Yes. So Pablo, can you tell us what's the difference between a funnel and a website? Because to many people, this concept funnel is still very new to them. So what's the difference?
Yeah, of course.
How could business owners benefit from a funnel?
Yeah, good question. Well, we need to know that today a digital website, it's a kind of menu in a restaurant, right? We can, when they go there, they can pick and choose. And the fact is that when we have many options, we choose nothing. And sometimes they leave and they don't understand. A confused mind doesn't buy.
Yeah,
So we
never
need
buy.
to learn that never buy. So we need to learn that we today more than ever we need to focus just on one thing. And the funnels is just that. They go to a certain website. The website, if it's not a website, it's a funnel, it's a landing page where
Yeah.
they arrive and they can read certain lines, certain texts, and for example, they can watch a video with just one message, right? And that message is just it contains a call to action just to do one thing. And that thing maybe, for example, to buy something, maybe to leave their email address in exchange for something that they need. But the difference is which one of, whether the website or the funnel, which converts better, right? And when we understand the statistics, they show us that we can have a better conversion when we move from a website to a funnel. So how can do more with less? That's the idea of the funnel.
Yes.
Yeah. So if they are starting right now, one of the first funnel that I would recommend is, for example, a lead magnet. The lead magnet has an idea and is to show people who I am, why I arrived here, and how can I help them. That's the idea of lead magnet. So I send people, a lot of people, for example, 100 people or 1,000 people to my landing page, and then they leave the message, and I can keep talking to them in order to show them what can I do for them.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Yes. Do you recommend to use some kind of funnel planning stimulation software before starting building a funnel to see what the outcome will be, then start to build a funnel?
Yeah. When we start to understand the idea of the let's say funnel acumen, the idea of how to create a funnel, right? We need to have a strategy behind that.
That's right.
It's not like I create a sort of a funnel, sending some ads and I send them to somewhere. What I do is just to have a strategy, and the strategy may be to create, for example, a lead magnet would be maybe we can do some sort of webinar, but it depends on what is the outcome that I want.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So for example, of course I can use a software to create, to have an idea, but at the very end, what I need is just the strategy and the structure. What should happen in the funnel in order so that that funnel provides me money.
That's right.
What's the sequence, right? So when we start doing a funnel, we need to understand which is the outcome that I need and which is the margin that I need. For example, it's not the same. For example, let's say that I create a funnel about a lead magnet, right? And that lead magnet, the idea is just to have leads in my database, and then I keep contacting them. But it's quite different. For example, I have today a very nice funnel that it's direct sales, right? They buy something it's very cheap. $5 to $10. And the idea is to have not leads, but customers.
Yeah.
Then when they become a customer with time, I think the idea is that they will become a client. Yeah, because I want a long-term relationship with them. But it's because of the strategy that I'm using. Right. And one of the things that I recommend is to understand the business acumen, the idea, the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So we need to focus on numbers if we want that funnel to work.
Yes. Know your numbers. That's how you can scale. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Let's say, unfortunately, a person who built a funnel and it flopped. What do you suggest how to fix it?
Good question. Well, we need to look at the funnel and see the statistics, because the very first thing that I do when they tell me it's not working. Okay, but
Mhm.
why? Yeah, it's the ad, because maybe it's the ad. They have it's not working, but okay, but how many people reach to that landing page? Well, 5 people. Well, that's not a problem of the funnel. Maybe it's a problem
With the
of the
ad.
ads, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to focus where the problem is. Maybe
Mhm.
they have, okay, we have, let's say, 200 people in that landing page. Okay, there was no sale. Okay, how much is it? How many testimonials do you have?
Mhm.
How many bullet points do you have? How
Yes.
do you explain the pain in
Mhm.
your BSL, video sales letter, for example, if it's a video sales
Yes.
letter, or it's a sales letter itself. So there is a certain structure in every single one of the of a funnel. For
Mhm.
example, the one thing is to pick the curiosity, for
Mhm.
example, of the people, for example, for them to leave the email address, or
Yeah.
sometimes the phone. Another thing, quite, I think, at that opposite, is to sell something online.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
need to understand why they are there, the problem that they are facing, what they want to achieve, how my product or service will become a solution to them,
Mhm.
testimonials of people,
Mm.
and of course, if they have any questions or objections, as we say in sales,
Yeah.
every single one of them should be
Should be
talked
handled, right?
or
On the
handled, exactly, sorry,
yeah.
handled in the website, right, in
Yes.
the landing page. That's the
Okay.
idea. So it depends on what to see. But at the very first thing that they would do is to see the numbers,
Yes.
see how many people, and what they are wanting to accomplish.
Uh-huh.
Is It's a sale. It's for example, I have one of my landing pages that I send people to a lead magnet. It's
Mm.
converting at between 60 and 80%,
Oh, that's very
and
high.
it's very, very high in
Yeah.
every single market, right?
Normally
But
it's a
it
50
was,
to 20%, right? Normally.
yeah, yeah, because uh, I try to maximize the probability because of what I have learned so far. I'm
Mm.
just doing things because I know that certain things will work. When I create, for example, a new funnel, I
Mm.
duplicate my existing one, and then I try to edit what I think that it should have in order to make it work,
Mhm.
right? But I don't start from scratch. I'm
Mm.
start from something that I know that it had worked.
Mhm.
That's what happened when we buy something. When we buy some kind of product or service, we start from the very beginning, but with something um, that it has been proven in the past.
Mhm. That's
That's
right.
what we are paying.
Mhm.
That's the shortcut that we need, that we mentioned before with our mentors. We
Mhm.
are paying for that shortcut.
Mhm. Okay, okay. So you will recommend we build a funnel first, then keep twisting it, improving it. When it's working, we just duplicate the working funnel, then build another funnel, right? Model the existing funnel.
Yeah, of course, there are some templates. For example, it depends, of course, on the software,
Yeah.
but and we can start with that, but
Mhm.
not from scratch. No, with no idea, and understand why we do what we do,
Mm.
because that's the main problem. I will start touching the headline, or that part of the text
Mm.
of the offer. Okay, but why? Why are you doing that? If
Mhm.
you do not understand why you're doing that, the problem is when it works, you don't know why it works. So
Yes.
it's the same. You can't duplicate that.
That's
So that's the funnel acumen, the idea, the understanding of the business, right?
yes, the strategy behind it is more important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's far more important. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And then, in fact, what we can do, we can use a third party. We do not need to create that funnel, but we need to know why that funnel will work or not, because it depends on us, the numbers, and we can ask, okay, improve my funnel. Okay, but what do I work? What do I have to improve? The headline. What do I touch? I don't
Yes.
know. So if I do not have the acumen, the idea, the vision, it's quite difficult for me to create a long-term business,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And there are a lot of successful funnels working right now. So would you recommend
Yeah.
we understand the funnel strategy first, then model those funnels that are already successful?
Yes, we need to know where we are in
Mhm.
order to know what funnel we need to create or to build, right? For example, a webinar today works, though everybody says it's dead, it works very well. However, we need to know that there are certain aspects, because funnels, for example, a webinar is a presentation, and it depends of for example, my tone of voice, right? It depends of my experience. It depends on my belief in myself.
Yeah.
So if I am speaking and I don't believe what I'm speaking, there are chances that we cannot sell because of me.
That's right.
So, and on the other hand, if I believe myself, the webinar would be a flaw, but in fact, if I believe that it will work, maybe it works because I believe that it will work, right? For example, that's kind of a funnel. If no one knows me in my business, right? Maybe the very first very first start would be, for example, with a lead magnet. For example, with an ebook. The authority, we need to build authority in our marketplace. The very first letters of authority is author. So when we create a book, we can, of course, provide certain authority in our marketplace. So it depends. It depends where we are. And of course, what I would suggest and recommend is to follow a mentor.
Yes, that's right. And I think nowadays for webinars, I attended a lot of webinars before, and they usually create a Facebook group for people who already signed up the webinar. And what I found out is the show up rate is so low.
Yeah.
So how would you suggest to increase the show up rate?
Well, I think that we are facing in the whole world, because we have many options, much more options than we had in the past, right? So it happened to everybody. Now, this is one of the things that I changed by 2022, is to transform my business from a lead magnet to a customer. So I try to sell the webinar. They have to pay to attend to the webinar.
Okay.
Right? So it's very cheap. Maybe it's $1, $2, $3, $5. It doesn't matter. But when they pay, they have introduced their credit cards details, and they start to believe that there is that okay, Pablo, for example, in my case, he told me that he will do a webinar, and he did it. Right? So the people that pay start to pay attention to me because they paid for that.
Yes.
So we started to cut the noise in the marketplace, because we bring not leads but customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe it's just $1, and maybe I have to pay for that. Maybe I pay to Facebook, for example, $10 for that. People that pay me $1. That's okay, because when I do the webinar, I know that the show up rate would be much higher. right? So if I have a lot of people in my webinar, I know that they maybe a 10-15% of them will buy my product or service. But if I do not have any people, if I just have 3-4 people, well, it's quite complicated. And today we are, for example, in last year, even though the lead magnet was attractful, the curiosity was unbelievable. However, the show up rate was very low, and I sent them reminders through email, through WhatsApp, through many other, through Facebook groups.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. Why? Because people are very skeptical today. They are trying different things, and they try to pick those that are in fact free. In fact, one of the things that I find out, one of my my funnels, this was in October. I brought in October with just one lead magnet, 25,000 people, right, to my database.
Yeah.
And I paid for them 30 cents, 40 cents of a dollar, right? It was very, very cheap.
Yeah.
The fact was that, well, I expected to sell them maybe, I know, $500, $1,000, $200. Well, the fact was that just 0.001% of them just bought something. It was very, very little,
Yeah.
right?
Very little.
And when I see the statistics, most of them didn't open the email, or they hadn't subscribed to my Facebook group, or they didn't subscribe to my WhatsApp group. So I couldn't communicate with to them. What I found is that these people, most of them, they are looking just for free stuff.
That's right.
And they will never become a client to me.
Yeah.
And it's completely different, the vision. So I changed from that perspective to just buyers. I need some new buyers. And in the last 2 months, from the very start of this year till this moment, I created a funnel that there were more or less today more than 700 buyers, $7 buyers. When I do a webinar, almost 50% of them, they go to the webinar. They start to follow my job, my work. And it's completely, the relationship is completely different.
Yes. So a buyer is always a buyer. So you
a
would
buyer is always a buyer.
Yeah. So you would suggest we build a sales funnel first, then lead them to the webinar funnel, right? The conversion will be higher.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that we could combine is two things. For example, if we have a lead magnet and we send people to a lead magnet, the thank you page of that lead magnet, that could be, for example, a landing page where I sell something for a very low ticket, maybe $5, $7, and that works. So I have leads and I have buyers, and when I combine them, I have the best of those two words.
Yeah, yes. When they pay, they pay attention.
Exactly. They pay attention.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, it's the time for questions. Okay, we have Yasmin Ziada. She said, what would your advice be to someone who is bringing a new concept, a new technique to the coaching market? How to get potential clients to trust and want to invest in themselves with the coach?
Advice to someone is bringing new concept, new technique to a concept. The very first thing that I would recommend is to make some noise in the marketplace. And I mean, for example, doing some YouTube videos in order to explain the concept, right? So we need to show them that there is something new coming. How to get potential clients to trust and want to invest in themselves, in the coach. So I would create, for example, in that case, a course, but a very low ticket course, maybe
Yes.
$5, $7, $10. It doesn't matter the price, so that they can consume what I have created. And from there, I will ascend them to a high ticket offer. Right? So that is the thing that I would recommend them to do. I would create maybe a course, or maybe just a map with an explanation of what's the problem that they are facing, how to solve that problem with this particular technique or methodology, and then to ascend them once they have buy. When they buy, maybe 1 out of 10, in my case, 1 out of 10 would become a better client. So those are numbers, and those numbers are not innocent. We need to know that numbers. How many of them would buy, for example, $7? Then how many of them would buy of them, the people who bought the $7, how many of them will buy a $50, and how many of them will buy a $1,000 product? So that when I have those numbers, I can scale. Yeah. So I would do two things. The very first thing would be to create, for example, YouTube videos, or I think that YouTube, because of the market, right, of the coaching market, maybe Instagram is a good way to start as well. And the second thing would be to send some traffic to a funnel that sells directly a very low ticket offer, and then talk to them and ask them if they want to become a better client, and they want to ascend to something more important, let's say.
Yes, good advice. Would you like to ask Pablo directly, Yasmin? If you want, you can unmute yourself, or maybe open your camera.
Yeah, the fact is that I don't know if Jasmine.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry, I'm not feeling very well, so I had the camera off. But yeah, I've got a new coaching technique where I use mindset and personal empowerment coaching, and I've added focused handwriting analysis, and I've developed that into a new system. It's very fast acting. I can immediately, within a few minutes, find their blind spots or what's blocking them. And then from that, I can start coaching them, and I can create a program for them. Program could be anywhere. It depends on their issue and how fast we can go through it. It could either be within a month, it could be for a year. It just depends. Some people, they can shift in a few hours. It just depends on what the situation that they're holding is. So bringing this in, nobody else has done it the way that I'm doing it with my unique system. So it's brand new. Not a lot of people can trust in it to invest if they haven't seen other people doing it. So I'm trying to get my first paying clients in for high ticket so that I can get this ball rolling. And that's where I am at the moment. So I really appreciate your comments, because it makes perfect sense now in a way.
No, that is what I would recommend, right? So I mean, of course, the idea is always to focus on the people who has the money, who can pay high ticket. That's the idea. But we know that most of them will not invest until they see something. But they can't see something until they invest. That's the problem, right? So we try to cut that part to if they can just invest a couple of dollars, just maybe $10, and if we can send them, for example, in my case, I have a very high ticket program, about 10K, and I ascend them from $7 to 10K, because in the $7 program, I show them the map. I explain how I work. I show them 3 to 5 testimonials of people who had results with that, and they pay, in fact, to become a client. So I have buyers to become a client. So maybe one out of 20 will go to a meeting with you and you can send them. But if they, I don't know if just with free content, you need a lot of people just to get one sale. But if they buy, just and you can, for example, one of the bribes that I use is to offer them a coaching session, right? You can do that. So they buy, for example, a $7 map. Let's say that you explain the map, you explain the methodology, you show them results of other people, and you also provide them with, okay, let's do one session. I charge for one session $500. For you, you invest $7. Okay, let's move forward. And from there, you can send them.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea, because then that can also help me with qualifying and disqualifying, because when I'm putting it out there, it's open to everyone. So that could be a really good way for me to find out who's who and who I can help. I love helping people. I want to help people. So I really think that is a really good idea for me to start off with, because I'll be doing what I love to do in helping, but at the same time, I can find the high-ticket clients that I want.
Yes. So it depends on where you are, but you can always create, for example, a webinar to send them to a call and then to sell them for free. That's one. But there will be many people that will not assist to that interview. The no-show is so high today that we need to cut that. And what I found is that when someone pays at least $5 or $7 or $10, the probability of going to that meeting is unbelievably high. And when more than 95% in my case of those people, they goes to the meeting. They are there, and we can't believe it, because when we do it for free, for example, when we do a webinar, most of them, they will not arrive. We have a 30 to 40% just the people who show up in that meeting. When they pay, more than 95%, because they appreciate the value, right? And in fact, one of the things that I found when we do that is that we can, we arrive to the meeting with a certain, let's say, authority. So the closing is much easier. That, let's say, I go free to a webinar. That webinar, for example, I see the webinar, and then I go to Jasmine to the meeting, and Jasmine is right there. So there is no authority, because they came for free to Jasmine that is free. On the other hand, when they pay just $5, $7, they see the content, they can see that, in fact, one of the things that I would recommend in your case is to have a website, maybe, or something. In that case, would be a website, right? Where it shows your price, your session, how much is that? And you can say $500, $1,000, it doesn't matter. Because when they buy the $7 stuff and they see that you have a session for free, and you have that the price is normally $500, and you will go with for free just because they have committed in the past, you position yourself completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll see such a bargain, they will jump at the chance. Even though it's just $7 or $10 or whatever it is. They'll think, wow, that's like such a big difference. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, in fact, it happens to me a lot. Normally, I have some of my closers. In fact, one of them is here. That they go to the meeting, right? But sometimes I go to that meeting again, and they say, "I can't believe I'm talking to you. What you are real." It's quite interesting, because that's one of the things that we learn from Dan Lok, from Sifu, that it changed the whole structure of our business. It's the authority and is much, but I mean, much easier to sell them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please. No, please.
Thank you.
Are you
Okay,
also
and
using AI for your funnels? No, please, Kelly.
okay,
Can
so
you?
Benjamin is asking, are you also using AI for your funnels? What do you think are the pros and cons of AI? If you want to unmute yourself and open your camera, Benjamin, welcome to ask your question directly, if you want.
Yeah, you also read the questions. So
Yeah.
right now I find very interesting what's possible with AI. And for me, I'm an Emerald. I find this is a very interesting tool to use. And I would like to hear your opinion as an expert for funnels about AI copy.
I think that AI came here and it's just the very beginning, right? And it will be improving. So we need to take action and start using AI to build funnels, copies, and all that stuff. However, we need to take to pick attention if is that what we really want to communicate to others? That's a question I would ask, right? So it's okay to create, to use it to not starting from scratch, of course, but then we have to edit that content in order to create something that it's quite special for that person, for that particular avatar. Because, of course, today they are still making mistakes. It's not 100% accurate. Maybe in 5 years it will be accurate, not today. So we need to use it as an assistant, right? Because we can use our time better. That's the idea. And we can, in a very few minutes, we can create something very special. For example, an email, for example, a copy for a funnel. And of course, we need to use it. And the pros is that we can shortcut our time. We can have advantage now on our time. On the other hand, we have to see if we are talking to that specific avatar that we want in our business, because sometimes it's so wide, generic, and it's not accurate, let's say, to that particular avatar. And we need to focus. One of the things that I learned much is that we need to focus in order to achieve our goals. And I want that particular client that has the money, that there will be no problem, that there is no brainer for them to move ahead. So that is one of the things that I would suggest.
So do you also use this right now, or do you use your own copywriting skills?
Well, the fact is that I learned copywriting skills, so it's the transition right now is just started a few months ago, right? I use it, of course, for example, to brainstorm some ideas, to create. One of the things that I want to create maybe in the upcoming months is it's a course how to use copywriting with AI, because in fact, if we can do that. Maybe in the future there will be no necessity of copywriting. I mean, of course, we always need to understand the let's say the copywriting acumen, the skills, the vision, right? Because we need to know why that people is buying or not. But maybe we can have more than 90% done for a computer with a computer. So that's the idea, yeah, and just do the little touch in order to make it work and see if we can improve it. And of course, but every single day, for example, one of the things that I have created when all that stuff come up with ChatGPT in December, the second day I saw that, I created, because one of my skills is coding as well. I know I am a programmer as well. So I created an app for WhatsApp so that I can ask directly to WhatsApp for brainstorm ideas or for some sort of coding or maybe something,
Smart.
right? So I use it every single day, but I know that I need to touch something. I need to edit some of the text because it's not 100% accurate, in my case at least.
Thank you for your answer. It makes a lot of sense. So, yeah.
No, thanks to you. One of the things that I would recommend always is to look at the numbers. And I know that I'm keep doing saying that once every single time, but in fact, this is what it's working right now. So if I have maybe 100 views and there is no sale, there is no action for that people, okay, there's something missing. Yeah, we need to change something. The question is what and why. So and understand there are certain basics. For example, in the case of funnels, in almost all of them, we need to connect with the pain, to connect with the pleasure, what they want to accomplish. They want to see some testimonials. They want to see, for example, a countdown, right, with some scarcity. All that stuff needs to be in every single funnel. In a webinar, of course, in a video sales data, in for example, if a funnel, for example, how to say it, when they have to apply for a meeting, then they need to have that stuff, right? And one of the things that has changed a lot from what I've seen, at least in my case, from the maybe 2019 to today, is that the video, the length of the videos has been shortened. In fact, we can see that with Reels, with TikTok, with Shorts, right, of YouTube. So we need to, for example, in the case of a webinar, the webinar today should be at least 20 minutes. And before, I had
Only 20 minutes is enough?
From 20 minutes to half an hour. Of course, I cannot provide all the value in that amount of time. But we are pointing to just the 3% of the value ladder of the to the 3% of the buyer's pyramid, right? You can search buyer's pyramid.
Yes.
The very first 3%, and we are pointing just to there. And from there, I know that most of the people will not buy or will not ask for a meeting with me. I know that from the very beginning. So I have some products in the lower end of the value ladder. For example, a $7 product. So I send them from a webinar. It's free, right? To book a call with me or with one of my closers, and then from there I know that 90 out of 100 will not do nothing, but they are on my list. I send them to buy something from me. And those $7, $10, or $20, they will pay for my ads. The idea is not to earn money from that. It's just to pay ads, right? And so I can scale faster. And I keep always repeating what is working.
That's right.
It's called the value ladder, the inverted value ladder. I start from the very top and then I move to the bottom. Normally, in the past, what was used, we started from the bottom and we keep moving up to the top, right? Asking for more money. But now things have changed. Everything changed. The AI is taking control of our lives, and we know that in 5 years things will be completely different from today.
So how would you recommend? Yes, how would you recommend the length of video sales letter?
Again,
video,
10 to from 10 to 30 minutes, not more, because the span is very little today. Because if we send it to a video, and for example, I have created in last year, I created more than 100 funnels, right? So I tested everything. I have videos, 2 hours video. I have 40 minutes video, 20 minutes video. We need to know that most of the people will leave at the very beginning of the video. So even if it's 2 hours video, maybe with the theory of consumption that we need to keep showing that people content in order to so that they can see what I can offer to them. That's perfectly fine. But the problem is that we don't have that span of time. So we need to focus today. I think that we need to focus more on the people that wants to buy today, but knowing that most of them will not buy. That's the strategy, right? And then from there, I send them to sell them low ticket items just to cover my the cost of my ads. And of course, continue providing value till they become a customer, then till they become a client, and they to have to build a relationship. That's the way that I will provide today. It's a very complex world today. It's not easier to start a business online. And one of the skills that is missing for most of the people is closing. Because if I cannot close a $1,000, $5,000 course or membership or something, it's quite tough to get some money to reinvest in ads. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's right. So what industries do you build a funnel for, Pablo?
Well, I have started this happened this year because we are always looking for opportunities. We started in the real estate funnels. For example, I have one of my colleagues in Chile that have created well, it's not a funnel, in fact, it's a launch that he does it every month. And he sold in 2 years, in less than 2 years, in 20 months, $200 million in real estate, just online.
From the funnel?
It's a launch. It's he uses the Jeff Walker's technique, right? And he does it in Chile and in Central America and Spain, in the all Hispanic world. But so I think that in real estate is changing. For example, today we can sell online, and that's one of the industries I started this year. In fact, we have created a partnership with a colleague in Bolivia, which is in the north of Argentina, and we are starting to help agents, brokers, digital brokers to sell through internet, maybe apartments or houses or real estate, everything. But that's one of my funnel. It's working because I use this strategy. For example, I created it's not a $7, it's a $37 because of the business. In real estate, there is much money, and it's not a lot of money for an agent to invest $37 to explain the technique that we are using. In fact, the technique is quite simple. It's just a funnel to a height and we close them through the phone. That's all. That's what we teach. But in real estate and more in Latin America, this is very new, right? So when we explain that, they are astonished. They can't believe that it's so easy to create some sales. And we start doing, in fact, we have a launch next Monday, the upcoming Monday and Tuesday, where we will send them to a 5K offer. Directly. And they have to book a call with us and to see if we can work together. And we are working, of course, for example, to create some other products. But that's one of the niches that I want to move forward. Another one, of course, is coaching, sales, marketing. In fact, is where the money is and where the money is going to be in the upcoming years. Right? We need to focus on that. and we try and test and see what we can do in order to achieve those goals as fast as we can, and then we try to scale that part. For
Yeah.
example, we are just spending maybe $30, in fact, in ads just to test if we have a market right there. It's not much money, of course, but if we can keep indeed in this industry, in this real estate industry, and we see that we can do a sale, a 5K sale, once we have that sale, we know that we have that market. So that is one of the things that I will recommend, to start very little, with very low entry barrier,
Yeah.
so that can learn from you what you are doing, and then from there you can ascend them as fast as possible and see the numbers. Yeah, how many 37 people how many 37 buyers do I need to get one 5K client?
Yeah.
That's the question. Yeah. We are almost closing one, but they haven't paid. I hope they pay today. But once we have that number, we know how fast we can scale. In fact, we can ask for investors, because if I show an investor the number, look, we needed 37 buyers to get one buyer, one 5K buyer. Okay, just send me some money. We will break even in 2 months. That's the idea, and we can scale, and it's easy to get some investors in this industry, in the funnels industry, because we have proven data. We can show them statistics. We can use the Facebook statistics, YouTube, on Google statistics, and all that stuff. It's great for us because we use this as a weapon to get more clients and to get investors.
Yes. Do you focus on?
But we need to understand.
Yeah. Do you focus on only building one type of funnel? Let's say maybe you only build a sales funnel.
No. We change. In fact, I combine funnels with launches. For example, we provide a 4-day launch, which are 4 masterclasses, and the last masterclass we provide, of course, the offer. We also change with a webinar. We also, and maybe sometimes the webinar is just, for example, to sell a low ticket item, or sometimes the webinar is to sell them an appointment. Right? It depends. But more important is to have the strategy. What's the strategy behind? Starting from that, then we create.
Yes, that's right. So according to the client's needs, you build a specific funnel type for them, right? According to their needs, their goal.
Yes. The fact is what they want to accomplish and in what time. And how much money can they spend? Because if they say, okay, but I don't have money to spend in ads, okay, that would be an issue, right? So we need to address that. And sometimes I need to, okay, let's start with sales, because we know maybe funnels is more complex and it takes more time. And if you can't, if you don't have money to scale, we can't do anything. So we need money. Let's focus on the money first. We need to at least $500 to $1,000 at least each month, so that we can see if this will work.
Yes.
But most of the time, the problem is that they don't believe that it will work. Because if they believe, they can get the money. They can get a loan. They can ask for friends, family. But most of the time, the problem is that they don't believe that this funnel is going to work. In fact, I talked to some of my friends. They can't believe that it's we can do so much money in a short period of time. It's just it's unbelievable, right? They provide me, for example, I asked a loan, 2K loan, and I could get the money back in just a month because of the funnel, because of the strategy, because of the skills, of course.
Yes.
But in a normal market, we know that if we are an investor, we can ask for maybe a 10% in a year, 12%,
That's right.
20% may be a scam, in fact, and more unbelievable.
Yeah. Do you believe funnel is the fastest way for a company to scale?
I think that funnels are the fastest way to scale. However, we need to understand the customer's journey, right? Because if we don't understand the journey, the problem is that, for example, when I started, I just created one funnel at the very beginning of my career, right? My very first time, and I got $2,500. Yeah, from the earning of my funnel. That was a webinar, and then I sold them to an offer. The problem was that it was just a 300 offer. When I went to the market and okay, let's go to Facebook, to Meta, and send me some leads. Okay, but I need money. So I pay for those leads a lot of money. And when I see the results in the second funnel, I was just break even. It wasn't as the very first time, because the very first time when I sell them, I sell to mates, colleagues, people that I know. But then the second time when I went to they were cold audience. They didn't know me. So it was, of course, much difficult for me to sell them. Yeah. So I didn't understand in that moment the importance of the journey. And if I had known that, I will be, of course, fast ahead in my life, in my business life. Because with that, people, if they have invested 300, if they have results, they would have invested maybe 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10 would have invested maybe 10K in the future.
Yes.
But I didn't know. I didn't have, in fact, a high ticket course at that moment. I do have it today, right? So we need to understand the journey. And funnels is, of course, it's a great advantage in every single business. I think that we could create from multi-level marketing to real estate to whatever, we can use it. However, the problem is that if we do not have a high ticket offer, the problem is that we have a roof.
Yeah.
In our business.
Limited.
We are very, very limited. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So far, do you aim to expand your business globally, are you focusing only on the Spanish market, or are you focusing on the English speaking market as well?
No, not English market. One of the idea maybe in the future. In fact, I have created a brand all around Latin America and Spain. In fact, more globally, right? But the problem is that, for example, in my market, I can see that we have, or at least what I have invested, what I have find out in my market is about 650 million people in Spanish market. So it's huge, right? In the worldwide. So my question is, do I have to move to an English-speaking country? I don't know. Maybe in the future. The fact is that for example, I run some ads in the United States. There are 50 million people in the United States that speak Spanish. And I have a lot of clients and buyers from the United States. In fact, Manuel is here. He is from the United States.
Yes.
And and of course, there is a lot of money in the United States, but the ROAS, the return on ad spend, it's much more higher in the Latin America countries. Because the competitors in the United States are a lot more than in Latin America. The cost of the ads is much more expensive. And when I say much more, it's more than 20 times more expensive than in Latin America. So even though in Latin America, I can sell some high ticket offers and not much higher than, maybe in the United States, I could ask for more money, but I prefer to lower just a little bit my the money that I ask in Latin America, but to get better clients and to get a better ROAS. That's the importance of knowing the numbers. If I don't know the return of ad spent, maybe United States would be spectacular for me, right?
That's right.
But I know that I have a long trip to move forward, and I can see some people that I admire and I want to be like them, and I'm far, far away from them. So even in the Spanish market, I have a lot to move forward. It's maybe there are so many countries that speak Spanish in the world.
That's
compared
right.
to some, maybe, I don't know, maybe Italian. I also speak Italian. I am Italian as well. There are just 2-3 countries that understand the Italian language, right? So there are people, but not as many people in Spanish. And of course, there are many other languages as well. But that's my vision, right? So I have a long-term, and I can see myself in the future helping much Hispanic people than in English people. And of course, I have to communicate better in English. As you can see, I need to improve my English.
Your English is already very good.
Yeah, of course, but selling in English, it's not as easier as for me as selling in Spanish, though it's the same. In fact, in the way I communicate, it's almost the same. However, the words, the phrasal verbs, the acumen in certain areas are different.
Yeah.
The culture is different.
That's right. That's right. So right now you wouldn't prefer to build a funnel for like an English speaking person, right?
No, I can do it. I have done it in the past,
Yeah.
but it will not be as to a lot of people. It's just certain type of industry, and we need to create something from in that particular niche. But
Like what niche, what industry?
massive, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, it depends. We need to see if there is. I mean, we can do it, we can create, but the problem is today it depends on me, because I know that when I create something, it works because of my experience, right?
Yeah.
But if I need to build a team, that's quite complicated, because I need to explain in another language, and maybe it's quite complicated. But however, we can do business in English, of course. Yeah, there are many ways to create a business, not only with funnels. We can do sales, we can hire some closers, we can hire, in fact, funnel creators, funnel builders.
Yeah.
So we can, but we need to see specifically how it can work.
Yes. Just see the individual if they are a good fit for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they can ask, of course, and we are open to create some business and help people. It doesn't matter language. Human nature is human nature, and human nature is human nature in every single one country. I sell in Italian, I can sell in Portuguese, and I did in the past. I can sell in German, and it works exactly the same.
Yes.
It's exactly the same. But there are certain, at certain level, there are certain parts, culture, that we need to focus in order to have better results.
That's right. Culture is more important.
So, yes. Yes. And one of the things that I also recommend is to have a partner. For example, I will not be in, for example, an English speaker or even in Chinese without a partner. Because my partner will show me something that I cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the importance of building something together. That's why I created a new business in the real estate business with a partner from Bolivia.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could do it myself. I have the knowledge. I have the power. I have the testimonials as well.
Yeah.
However, they can see things that I cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
And there we can create more together than if I do it alone.
Okay. So what's your suggestion about choosing a business partner? What qualities do you need to qualify? Like,
Well, of course, the
yes.
commitment.
Yeah.
The commitment, of course, something of the experience, the knowledge, maybe, and how they can be. It depends on the, of course, of the kind of partnership, right, that we can create.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some partnership is just as a mentor and mentee, and another partnership would be as if we have 50-50 of the company. I have some kind of equity, for example, in with some people, equity business together. So I have maybe 10 or 20% of the actions of the company,
Mm-hmm.
but I provide the coaching, the services, the what I am good at, in fact, and they provide the service. That's the idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it depends. It depends, but what it must happen, I think, is that if we have to choose, we have some values, they have some values,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to match. If they do
Yes.
not match, forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
If, for
Very
example, if
similar
someone,
values. Mm-hmm.
let's say that someone wants to partner with me and they say, okay, at 10 o'clock we meet, and they arrive 10:05, forget about that. There
Mm-hmm.
we know it's impossible for me to partner with him or with her,
Yes. Yes.
because
Mm-hmm.
I have some values.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, when someone is in a way in a certain area of their life, they're in the same way in other areas. So we need to look at this partner, of course, as what is he telling me? What is he showing me? And what is he not showing? What is not showing me? We need to look at that and understand him as a global, and that he has emotions and what happens in certain situations. For
Yeah.
example, if there are problems.
That's right. That's right. Yes. So is there any books that you've written and like any digital courses you've created? How can people learn from you?
Well, in fact, it's very complicated because in Spanish, most of my content,
Yeah.
99.999% is in Spanish.
Okay.
So I have my YouTube channel, say, yes, Pablo Sanchez Emprendedor.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, they can reach to me. They can go to pablosanchez.club or
Mm-hmm.
sanchezpablo.com. There are two of my websites. I have written books, how to get clients even in a complex moment, for
Mm-hmm.
example. That's one of my books. Of course, it's in Spanish, and I have a lot of courses. In fact, if they go to sanchezpablo.com, and they will see there are many courses right
Mm-hmm.
there, and they can reach to me and see if we can match together and work together and see what can we do. That's the idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pablo, for your time. Any
No,
final
thanks.
words for the attendees here?
No, I want to thank you, Kelly, of course, for the meeting, for the interview, and all of you, because you came here and you asked questions, and this is more interesting because of you. because of those questions. So the idea is, of course, to keep learning, to grow, to build a business, and in fact, to be a better person in our lives and see our understand, in fact, our weaknesses and how to transform them into strength, and how can we follow someone who has already done the things that we want to accomplish.
Mhm.
That's the idea that would recommend to them, and of course, and keep growing, keep learning, and of course keep doing, because that's the idea.
Wow, thank you so much, Pablo, for your insights, and thank you for attending this interview. I'll see you next
Thank you.
time.
Thank you,
Yes,
Vio.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Pablo.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Maybe you have been following me for quite some time now. You've been watching my videos for a period of time. I want to hear from you how my work has impacted your life and your Chinese learning process. I want you to comment below and share with me your story, because that's what gives me the drive, the motivation to create more, to inspire more. I do read every single one of your comments, so I look forward to reading your story.